If you are a brand new DJ or interested in DJing and thinking of becoming one, then hopefully this will be the video for you. Because today we're going to talk about the things that you are going to need in order to get started. Now, on this channel previously, I've spoken a little bit about some of the soft skills in order to be a DJ, things like resilience, patience, all of that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, then check out the video in the description down below. But today we're going to talk about actual physical things that you need to go out and get in order to start up DJing. So without further ado, let's get started. First things first then, this is a pretty obvious one, but you're going to need some music. If you're not a producer looking to get into DJing, so you don't have your own tracks, then you're going to need to buy other people's tracks. Now, the world of music and building a record collection, I know can be pretty overwhelming, but try not to overcomplicate things. Phil Morse from Digital DJ Tips recently said that when you're getting started, download like 50 or 60 tracks to get started with. And I think this is pretty good advice. Like, I've got absolutely tens of thousands of tracks in my collection, but I have been building this for many, many years. Okay, when I first started, I didn't have that many tracks. So go out and get, say, 40, 50, maybe 60 tracks just to play around with. At the end of the day, that's going to be enough for a good 3-4 hours of music. It's certainly going to be enough for spinning some tunes at your mate's house party, spinning in your bedroom, or putting a mix out on SoundCloud or something like that. So yes, I would say you don't need to worry about downloading thousands upon thousands of tracks to start with. In terms of where to get music from, please get these from legitimate sources. So buying them from somewhere like a Beatport, Traxsource, individual downloads, or if you want to subscribe to a record pool, then you can do that as well. And sometimes they give you unlimited downloads in exchange for a monthly fee. If you are a little bit worried that the record pool is asking you for proof that you are a DJ, don't worry too much. That's a little tip from me. I think more or less all of them have automated checking processes, and most of the time you'll get accepted very, very quickly. So there is no way a human is checking every single application. So don't worry too much about that. But don't use things like YouTube rips, SoundCloud downloads that don't have a download link, using weird converter software, because number one, it's illegal. Number two, the sound is going to be dreadful. Some people say that they can't tell the difference, but if you play it on your laptop, it might sound fine. But if you play it out on a sound system, something like that, it's going to sound dreadful. And number three, you might end up with some dodgy viruses and stuff on your computer, because the software used to download these files, like the converter software, it's all a little bit dodgy. It's a little bit kind of like through the back door, if that's a phrase. So yeah, just avoid it. I would say stick to legitimate tracks. And to be honest, if I was starting out, I would just buy individual tracks from somewhere like Beatport, Traxsource, or even somewhere like Amazon. You can buy individual records and individual download files. So yes, music, of course, very, very important. Go out there and get yourself some tracks. On to item number two, and that is a DJ controller. Now, of course, the barriers to entry with DJing have become less over the years, because you can pick up a DJ controller with a whole range of functions and features for quite little money these days. I would say for your first ever DJ controller, you really don't need to break the bank at all. Something that I feature on my channel loads is the Pioneer DJ DDJ Flex 4 or FLX4, a great entry level controller with so many different creative features and functions on it. It's definitely going to keep you occupied. And that controller comes in at around the $300 mark, or here in the UK where I am, I think it's about £260. Denon don't really do like any entry level controllers as such. They're all a little bit more expensive. But other brands that you could look at are Newmark and also as well Hercules. They have some good budget options. Or if you really can't stretch to a controller, you could use an app on your phone. There's some good little apps out there, and that will give you a good introduction to the world of DJing just through your phone, and the apps are pretty cheap. Next item number 2 or 3, if we're going to include the music as well, is a pair of headphones. Now, headphones are used to essentially cue up the next track, listen to it, beat match it, and then mix it. So you'll have one track playing on the speakers, and then you need to cue up the next one in your headphones, hence why DJs have one headphone on and one headphone off, and then you can use your headphones to mix in the next track. In terms of headphones, again, please don't break the bank. You don't actually need to spend a lot of money on headphones. The key thing is here, I think, is that as long as they're closed back, so they don't let any outside noise in, that's really, really good. And also as well, something that plays at a fairly loud volume, especially if you're playing out at gigs. That's all you really need to look at. There are some Numark ones which I've got on the screen. Those are really cheap. They're like under $20, so that's a good option. If you want to go down the Pioneer route, the Pioneer DJ, I don't know if they're called DDJ, but the Q1 headphones, I also own a pair of those. I've got videos when they first came out on the channel when I've got those. Brilliant entry-level options, or if you can afford to spend a little bit more, they're actually not really expensive, but the Sennheiser HD25s are the ones that most DJs use. That's a bit controversial, but a lot of DJs use them. I've used them for years. And to be honest, they don't break the bank too much, in my personal opinion. But yeah, you don't really need to break the bank when it comes to headphones, but a critical item. On to item number 4, and that is some studio monitor speakers. So these are little speakers that you can play out of basically at home. If you're not doing mobile gigs or anything like that, I'm going to assume that you're starting off as a bedroom DJ, because if you're going out and playing gigs, then you're going to need a PA system, but that's a whole different ball game. But for playing music at home, doing your first DJ mix, we're going to assume that's what you want to do. You want to get some studio monitors. Again, do not break the bank with this. You can get some pretty affordable options that come in at under $150-ish for a pair. Bearing in mind, when you are shopping for these, especially here in the UK, just make sure that you are paying for a pair, because a lot of them, they're priced singly, which is very strange. I don't know why they're not just priced as a pair, because no one buys them in odd numbers. Well, I certainly haven't come across it. So just make sure that you are buying into a pair. Some of the more budget ones, they do sell them as pairs, but yeah, the more higher end you go, it is priced singly. But yeah, you can pick up a pair of these for under $150. But yes, buy a pair of studio monitors so you can hear your mix playing out loud. Item number 5, and the last kind of critical item that you're going to need to get started, is some kind of laptop or some kind of computer. When it comes to DJ controllers, they need software in order to run them, okay? They don't work on their own, so you are going to need some kind of laptop. If you buy a standalone controller that you can plug in a USB, for example, they're a lot more expensive, but for the most part, if you're buying an entry-level controller, you're going to need a laptop in order to use it. Now, when it comes to laptops, I think a lot of people think you need a high-end MacBook Pro that's really maxed out. I actually don't agree with that. Regardless of whether you're going Apple or Windows, these days laptops are pretty powerful, so you don't need anything that's ridiculously expensive, in my opinion. If I was buying a new laptop now, yes, I've got an M1 MacBook Pro. I think we're on like the M3 now. But if I was buying another laptop now, I would actually get a MacBook Air, because they've got an M3 chip in, and that is going to be more powerful than this M1 MacBook Pro. So you don't need like the top end spec laptops anymore, as long as I think it's got 8 to 16 gigs of RAM in it and enough storage to store all your music. And if you are just starting out, it's likely that you're not going to need loads of storage. Like 256 or 512 gigs of storage is probably going to be enough. So yeah, you don't need to break the bank. I think if you're going down the Windows route, you could probably pick up a laptop for about £400 or £500 or $400 or $500. If you're going Mac, of course, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but I think a MacBook Air is going to be enough for you in this day and age. You don't need a MacBook Pro to DJ. But yes, Item number 5, you are going to need some kind of laptop. And to be fair, even if you have got a standalone unit which just uses a USB stick to play music, you're still going to need a computer because you're going to need to analyze the tracks and export those tracks onto your USB stick. So yeah, a laptop is kind of critical in this day and age. And then finally, all the boring stuff, you're going to need some cables to connect everything together. If you buy a controller, it's likely that it will come with a cable to connect it to your computer, but you might need to buy a power source for it. If you buy headphones, of course, it's going to have a lead on it. So yeah, just make sure that you have all the leads and everything that you need to connect everything together. But that is pretty much it. You can get started with DJing with those 5 items. Do you need a microphone? It depends if you want to talk on your DJ mixes sets. If you are DJing out to a crowd, you might want to buy a microphone as well, but I don't think it's critical just to get started. Hope you found this video useful. Please do give me a thumbs up if you have made it this far. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you next time.